This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Oh my goodness. Good morning, good afternoon. Whatever it is for you, I hope you're having a fantastic day. My name is Zach Schaumler. This is Strong Opinion Sports, episode 642. Welcome in. Today's going to be a short one. I'm aiming for if we can make this episode 25 minutes, that would be fantastic. We got one topic to talk about all day today. I want to talk about the roast of Tom Brady. It happened, it was live on Netflix last Sunday, May 5th. I didn't watch it live. I was in Mexico for a wedding. And so, I don't know if anyone can relate to this. This is a 3-hour-long event. 3-hour-long roast of Tom Brady. Really fun, by the way. We'll talk all about it. It took me about a week to get through it. I was watching about 30 minutes at a time after work. I'm a guy with a real job. I work 9 to 5. And I don't know if anyone can relate to this. As an adult now with a lot of responsibility, it's like finding time for a 3-hour TV show basically is that's not as easy as it once was. It's I didn't realize how hard it was going to be. Throughout the week, I kept incrementally watching through it. Loved it. And I also, I guess I wanted to make sure I wasn't forcing myself to watch it. I want to watch it as I enjoy it and really digest it. What we're going to do today, I'm going to talk about some general thoughts. In case there's anyone who hasn't seen it yet, I'll share some thoughts, generally what I think, why I think you should watch it. And then about, 10 minutes in, I'm going to say, okay, spoiler warning. And then I'm going to go into detail and spoil stuff for people who have seen it. I would imagine by now, it's Monday, May 13th at 4 in the morning. I would imagine most people, if you're going to watch it, you've seen it already. And I just really thought it was super cool. I finally finished it. Generally, I want to share some thoughts, which are that, I really, really love that this happened in general. This roast of Tom Brady, hosted by Kevin Hart, which I want to also acknowledge, there's kind of a piece I would mention as a companion piece. Yesterday, Saturday, I finally sat down and watched the final hour and a half. And then right afterward, I watched there's another special on Netflix right now. Kevin Hart won the Mark Twain Comedy Award, American Comedy Award. And it's a little hour-long special event where people come and pay tribute to Kevin Hart. They do some stand-up, and really it's just comedians telling stories and kind of roasting Kevin Hart a little bit. I really recommend you watch that if you're interested in this kind of event. The little spoiler, the way that live stream starts or that event started was with Jerry Seinfeld coming out and talking about Kevin Hart. And man, watching a guy like Jerry Seinfeld, who is a true comedian, an incredible public speaker, a guy who was made to be talking into a microphone, it really does put in perspective what happened on the Tom Brady roast. Because this Tom Brady roast is, and by the way, that moment, Jerry Seinfeld talking about Kevin Hart is so touching, and really, it's both hilarious and touching at the same time. It's really, really cool. He kind of really threads that needle of making laugh, saying uncomfortable stuff, and also praising Kevin Hart. But Kevin Hart plays a central key role in the roast of Tom Brady. He's the host. He's the guy on the mic, transitioning everything. And Kevin Hart really did a great job. I went in not loving Kevin Hart, and over the course of a week watching the roast of Tom Brady, then watching this Mark Twain award show for Kevin Hart, made me just walk away you know what? I do love Kevin Hart. I really forgot how much he's an awesome guy. I think I kind of view him as a movie star now more than a comedian. But no, he is a true comedian, and comedians love him and respect him. And for me, the roast of Tom Brady was a weird event because it's a collision of two things I love. I love stand-up comedy. I really do. I love it. I'm really passionate about it. I'm kind of in that world. I watch a lot of stand-up specials. I've got friends of mine who do stand-up comedy. I've got friends of mine who've been on Netflix doing stand-up specials. We've had Brian Simpson on the show, literally. So I love stand-up. I also love football. And weirdly enough, I don't know if you know this, but football players are not stand-up comedians. It's just Julian Edelman, not exactly the guy you want to put on an open mic in New York City. That's not naturally what he does. And so I thought that for an event that had a lot of non-comedians on stage telling jokes, it was really, really effective. It was not perfect. Anytime you watch a roast, I used to love the Comedy Central roasts. If you have 20 people present, not all 20 people are going to crush it. There's going to be people that have awkward moments, and there certainly were awkward moments during the roast of Tom Brady. But even those awkward moments were brief, and they didn't overstay their welcome. And I really just walked away very impressed with what happened. But more than anything, the fact that this happened at all, the fact that Tom Brady, who, I mean, look, everyone knows who he is. He's wildly famous. He doesn't need the publicity. It sure doesn't hurt. He got paid $25 million. He also got a bunch of publicity. It's free publicity for him starting his broadcasting career, getting some goodwill. But it was so cool. And what I really love about this is it brought value to Netflix. I have not had a Netflix subscription for, 2 years now. I don't care. If I really want to watch something, I go to my friends' houses. We watch whatever, like, when Stranger Things, the last, whatever most recent season came out, I went to someone's house, I watched it with them. Like, I don't need Netflix that badly. This got me to re-download Netflix. This, and it was paired with the fact that I was going to Mexico and I wanted to download stuff for the flight on my phone. But I was like, you know what? There was enough things coming together. I'm like, I'll pay I think it's $15 for a Netflix subscription. And I liked it a lot. It was really a good time. And I think that this is something that should happen more. This brought value to Netflix for sure. I was like, oh, this is really cool. I really, really enjoy it. And what's really cool about it is it's got such a wide appeal. I am a die-hard Tom Brady fan. I acknowledge that. I grew up idolizing him. I played quarterback in high school and college. He was my role model. Tom Brady was who I modeled so much of my approach and my game and my work ethic after. I loved Tom Brady. I looked up to him a ton. There's a lot of people that feel that way about Tom Brady. There's an equal amount, if not more people, who absolutely hate Tom Brady. And what's really cool about this live stream is it appeals so effectively to people both that hate Tom Brady and that love Tom Brady. As a guy who loves Tom Brady, it's fun to watch people say the uncomfortable stuff and acknowledge stuff. And for people that hate Tom Brady, they probably loved this. They got to see people make fun of him, call him all kinds of horrible stuff. I'm imagining it's cathartic for people that hate Tom Brady, really, genuinely. And it was so smart of him to say, yes, Tom Brady got $25 million for doing this. And again, as he goes into broadcasting, this just elevates the way he's viewed. And I mean, this show, yesterday on Saturday when I finished it, it was still number one on Netflix a week later. So I don't know what the numbers are, how many people have watched the roast of Tom Brady, but I would imagine it's a monumental amount of people. It was the talk of the town all week at work. Everyone's like, did you watch a live stream? And I'm like, yeah, I'm getting through it. But at my HVAC job, I work in a shop. It's a bunch of dudes. Everyone was talking about the roast of Tom Brady all week. So I would imagine if the people I know that don't even love football very much, if at all, one of my friends at work literally doesn't watch football, but he watched because he knows the comedians. And that's what I'm saying is the wide appeal of this roast, I would imagine brings in so many people. So number one, I want to see this happen again. And the thing I want to see happen, I think it's a very obvious idea. We got to have a roast of LeBron James whenever he retires, right? He's the next guy that would bring this level of hype, this level of anticipation. Having people like Stephen A. Smith on to roast LeBron James on Netflix would be, I mean, you got to get LeBron to say yes to it, but I don't know how he loses. I just think it's a fantastic idea. But I think that's where Tom Brady deserves credit. It's not a surefire bet someone like LeBron James would say yes to getting roasted on Netflix for 3 hours. It's just not a lot of people would do that. The fact that Tom Brady goes, yeah, let's do it. Let's make it happen. Says a lot about him. Says a lot about his savvy. I don't think it's because he's divorced and lost a bunch of money in crypto. He needs the money. I think this is what you do. I think he's open to new ideas and new experiences. And I really genuinely enjoyed it. I thought that, again, for a show that had so many football players telling jokes, using a teleprompter, sometimes going off script, there were funny moments where you're like, oh no, what is Gronk about to say? Stuff like that. It was really cool, but generally, I want to see more roasts on Netflix. I think it's a great idea. This is a formula they could really duplicate a lot. But the next one in my head that's got to happen for sure, whether it's, if they can find other people between now and then, like Justin Bieber would be fun, but I don't know who's left. Comedy Central didn't actually roast already. But like LeBron James is the one that has to happen. It would be so big in American culture, LeBron James getting roasted, that GOAT debate, Michael Jordan, all this stuff. Michael Jordan would never come to an event like that. But it would be, can you imagine if Michael Jordan walked onto stage at a roast of LeBron James, how unbelievably fun that would be. So I don't know, man. I really thought that it was really cool. Not a spoiler here, but I do want to give a shout out. This is maybe a light spoiler, but I don't think it's a problem. The very first presenter of the night was Drew Bledsoe, the guy who Tom Brady, he got hurt. He lost his job to Tom Brady early on into the 2001 season. And I personally thought Drew Bledsoe did so much better than I would have ever thought. A former football player, a guy who, I'll say it, Drew Bledsoe's kind of a vanilla, boring guy. I'm like, what is he going to say on a microphone that's going to be funny and entertaining? He crushed it. He really did. And the comedians did a good job. The former athletes did a good job, but the comedians really brought it. The comedians, I think, realized, hey, this is going to have a massive audience. I'm going to do the very best I possibly can. And it made for a really entertaining night. I mean, like I said, some of the football players were the ones who stumbled a bit, and you were like, all right, like you're clearly not a great public speaker, but the comedians who participated in this roast really, really did a great job. Everyone brought it, did a fantastic performance. It was also a packed crowd. I mean, I saw so many famous people in the crowd. Jim Harbaugh, Shane Gillis, Gabriel Iglesias. It goes on and on and on. I mean, it was really like a very, very, it was a big crowd. And I wonder actually if some of the people we saw in the crowd, like I would imagine Shane Gillis was invited to participate and said no. They're like, well, if you're not getting on the stage, do you want to at least be in the crowd and be at the event? I would imagine a lot of that kind of stuff happened, but it was fantastic. I really, really enjoyed it. And I'm going to leave it here, though. I want to get into, there's so many things I want to say that I'm not allowed to talk about yet. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell you about our sponsor today, and then we're going to get into some ad reads. But I got to tell you first, this episode is brought to you by Game Time. The NBA playoffs are here. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of the NBA, which makes getting playoff tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to tip-off. They've got killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets. It's a great way to buy NBA playoff tickets. Frankly, for me, I live in Portland. I'm about 2 hours south of Seattle. I would probably use the Game Time app to go buy maybe Mariners tickets up in Seattle, go to a baseball game, have a hot dog, have a beer, hang out with my friends at a ballpark, or maybe go buy concert tickets. However, they've got last-minute deals which can save you up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. They've got flash deals which can save you even more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or event. They've got zone deals where you can save even more when you choose a selection of the arena and let Game Time choose your seats. They've got all-in pricing, which toggling this feature shows you the total amount up front with no surprise fees at checkout, so there's no hidden fees. They've got seat views, which gives you a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy, so you know exactly what your seat is what it's gonna look like from your seat when you purchase your ticket. And here's a couple ways Game Time has your back. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. There's job loss assurance, which means that if you lose your job and need a refund, Game Time has you covered. You'll get your money back. They've got event cancellation protection, meaning there's an automatic full refund for events that are canceled and not rescheduled. And there's a 24-hour return guarantee. If you return your tickets within 24 hours from the time of your purchase for a full credit, you will get a full credit to your Game Time account. No questions asked. I like how Game Time does business. They have your back. They will take care of you. Download the Game Time app or create an account. Use code CLNS for 20% off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account on the Game Time app and redeem with the code CLNS for 20% off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, we got one more sponsor today. I gotta tell you that this episode is brought to you by Factor. Factor Meal Kits. They're offering 50% off to listeners of this show. Factor Meal Kits. Go to factormeals.com/SOS50 and use code SOS50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next box. That is code SOS50 at factormeals.com/SOS50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next box while your subscription is active. What is Factor? Let me tell you. Factor is a meal kit service. They send you ready-to-eat meals. They're easy to prepare. They show up in a box. You put the meal kits in the fridge. When you want your food, you go to the fridge, you put the food in the microwave, you heat it up in about 2 minutes. You've got restaurant quality food ready to go. It's never frozen, high quality ingredients, and compared to all the other options you can have for a quick and easy meal, I would say Factor is by far the best. Also, I think it's very interesting. There are so many different ways you can customize your order. Maybe you're on a diet trying to cut calories. There are low-calorie options. Factor can meet you where you want to be. You can customize your order however you want. Maybe you just want a good meal that doesn't take 30 minutes to prepare and an hour that doesn't take, an hour out of your life to get ready. Guess what? For me, I'm super busy. I'm running around. I'm doing a job. I'm doing the podcast. I'm learning new things. I'm doing so much at my job right now. It's kind of insane. For me, having a really good meal ready to go in my fridge is incredibly valuable. You pull it out, 2 minutes in the microwave, and you've got restaurant quality food ready to go. It saves me a lot of time. It's also cheaper for you and better for you than other options. You've got 50% off with code SOS50 compared to takeout or delivery. Guys, those prices are not good compared to Factor. Again, if you want a high quality meal quickly, I recommend Factor. Go to factormeals.com/SOS50 and use code SOS50 to get 50% off your first box and 20% off your next shot. The next order. That is code SOS50 at factormeals.com/SOS50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next box while your subscription is active. Again, I think you should look into this. It's a great value. Factor Meal Kits is awesome. Okay, I want to make it very, very clear. Spoiler warning. I am going to spoil what happened during the roast of Tom Brady. If you haven't seen it and you're sensitive to hearing things that go on and spoiling the roast, don't listen to this. Do not turn off the episode right now if you don't want to hear spoilers for the roast of Tom Brady. If you do, welcome, congratulations. I think you've been effectively warned. Let's now talk. I want to talk to the people who have watched the roast because, number one, I want to talk about Drew Bledsoe. I can't believe how well he did. He was fantastic. I really, really think that it's worth mentioning that he just, whoever wrote his jokes, there's no way he wrote those jokes himself, not all of them at least. He did a great job. It was really funny. It was fantastic. And then the surprise of the show, I couldn't say this to people without giving a spoiler warning. A couple people made cameos or guest appearances during this roast that I didn't think was going to happen. Number one, I can't believe they got Bill Belichick to show up and sit down, and he toasted Robert Kraft. He toasted Tom Brady. Belichick was there, was a good sport, was nice to people. I saw him smile a ton. I really like this era of Bill Belichick, the retired coach who didn't make it and didn't get hired. We're seeing so much more of his personality, whether he's going on Pat McAfee, he's doing Monday Night Football stuff with Peyton Manning this year. We're seeing him show his colors more than ever before, and it's, by the way, it's fantastic. I love it. I think Bill has always been way more interesting than he allows you to believe. But I thought that him coming on and participating in the roast, but also, by the way, his performance, the little, I don't even know what you say, the little couple things Bill Belichick had to say during the roast of Tom Brady, go back and listen. None of them are mean. None of them are, he actually didn't really take any shots at Tom Brady either. Like the only thing he said was, we were both responsible for the dynasty because of me. So he took credit for being the reason the Patriots won 6 Super Bowls together. But jokingly, and also, I'm serious, go back and watch. He was very careful to not say anything disrespectful about Tom at all. Like, it's very clear Belichick has very high standards for respect and doesn't want to cross any kind of lines. He really, I think I walked away going like, oh, Bill really respects Tom. I feel like when you watch him, his demeanor, his body language, the things he literally said out loud, you see a man who has a lot of reverence and respect for Tom, and he went out of his way to not trash him, to not say anything too bad about him. And then the fact that Robert Kraft got on stage, I want to make this very clear. We're never going to see this again. We are never going to see a billionaire owner of an NFL team participate in any kind of roast or pop culture event like this. How do I say this properly? Billionaire owners of football teams, right? They're not normal people. They don't do this stuff. They're on a different level above everyone else. It's kind of like the movie Elysium, where they live on like a little planet that floats above our actual planet. They literally do not live on the same plane of existence as we do. And it was very clear that there was a line drawn on the sand. You don't talk bad about Robert Kraft. And Jeff Ross, the opener of the night, to his credit, I guess it was Jeff Ross, then Drew Bledsoe, now that I look back on it. Jeff Ross made one joke, and it was hilarious. He said, the rumor is when Tom Brady got drafted by the Patriots and went to Robert Kraft and said, Robert, I'm the best decision this organization has ever made. Do you want a massage? Which is fucking hilarious because, remember, Robert Kraft got in trouble for going to a happy ending massage parlor. He was wrapped up in that. And Tom Brady gets up and goes, don't say that shit again. He got very serious, was like, do not do that. Because Jeff Ross crossed the line. There was clearly, everyone was instructed, say whatever you want. The only thing you can't talk about, Tom's kids, no one talked about the kids, and you can't talk about Robert Kraft. The fact that they got Robert Kraft to be there in the room and participate in that, again, a guy who owes nobody anything, and also he's a different level human. He's on a different plane of existence. I don't know that I like that. Let's be clear. I don't like that about our society. It's very weird, the uncomfortable economic gap between us normies and people like him. But we're never going to see that again. If LeBron James ever gets roasted, you're not going to see people like NBA owners. Maybe Mark, what's the guy who does Shark Tank? You know who I'm talking about. The owner of the Mavericks. Or I don't even know if he actually owns the Mavericks anymore. He's the one guy, but he's marketed himself like that. He's intentionally been trying to be Mark Cuban, try to participate as a normal guy. He does stuff like that. Mark Cuban's the only other billionaire owner we're ever going to see do anything like that. So maybe Mark Cuban would participate in the roast of LeBron. But to have him there, and not only to have him in the crowd, but also then to get on stage and roast Tom Brady a little bit, toast Bill Belichick. I don't know, like he's clearly very old. You saw as he was doing a toast, his hand is shaking a bunch, and he's not quite all there or something. There's a little bit, how do I say this? You can tell Robert Kraft is significantly slowing down. But man, the fact that he participated in this was crazy. And the funniest thing that Robert Kraft said was, he says, Tom, good luck on buying the Raiders, but he says, good luck on buying the Raiders. They already did your favorite thing. They got rid of Jimmy Garoppolo, which is so funny and so self-aware. And it's a reference back to the day that clearly Tom Brady said, get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't want him here. And the Patriots traded him to the 49ers. So Jeff Ross was there. He was fantastic. The comedians I thought were really, really funny. Nikki Glazer did a great job. I want to touch on Andrew Scholes because how do I say this in a nice way? I don't think there is a nice way. I've already cussed now. We've made it an explicit episode. By the way, I try to make every episode clean, and then I recently I don't talk I normally in real life, I use swear words constantly, except at work. So in this setting, I try to be comfortable to be myself, and I do cuss. I fucking hate Andrew Scholes. I think he is a massive, massive douchebag, and maybe that's just his podcast. When you watch clips of his podcast, Andrew Scholes comes across like a fucking tool. I really don't like him. I think he is I just think he's really arrogant, really full of himself. He touches people all the time. He cuts people off. He's really uncomfortable to watch. And in fact, I don't watch. I just watch clips and I go, there's never a setting where what you said or the way you acted there is acceptable to me. So I don't think Andrew Scholes is like a great dude. In fact, I don't like him. And I would love to meet him someday and grill him on his behavior for how he treats people on his podcast. However, I love Andrew Scholes' stand-up comedy is hilarious. He really is. Like, it's weird that I feel that way. I don't like him as a person. I don't like his podcast at all. Him on stage with a microphone doing stand-up, I've never not enjoyed it. It's always funny. It's really a good time, and he was undeniably great during the roast of Tom Brady. And the dude is born to do stand-up comedy. He's so good at talking into a microphone, making jokes. Kim Kardashian was there. Ron Burgundy came out. Ron Burgundy, Will Ferrell coming out as Ron Burgundy was not on the list of things that I thought was going to happen during this roast. That was hilarious. I did mention Kim Kardashian. Tom Brady made a joke about Kim Kardashian. Because remember, the roast happens for like 2.5 hours. Everyone does their thing. And then at the end, the guy who gets roasted gets a rebuttal. So Tom Brady gets on stage and starts telling jokes. He told probably one of my favorite jokes of the night, which was, Kim Kardashian is here. I know Kim Kardashian was very nervous and terrified to be here tonight because her kids are home with their dad, which is Kanye West. And I thought that, if you know the context of that story and that joke, I thought it was fucking hilarious. By far, though, the best performance of the night had to have been Tony Hinchcliffe, who is from the Kill Tony podcast. Tony Hinchcliffe brought the energy. The crowd loved him. Andrew Schulz was probably second best, actually, of the night when it comes to stand-up comedians. But Tony Hinchcliffe was far and away, at least the best response, the live crowd. Like the live crowd really loved Tony Hinchcliffe. He wasn't using the teleprompter like everybody else. He's walking around, doing his thing. It was like watching him do a stand-up set. Tony Hinchcliffe did a fantastic, fantastic job. And then Ben Affleck came on stage. And first of all, Ben Affleck, I have been learning about plastic surgery recently. I live in downtown Portland. My building is full of I live in like a very, how do I say this? Like an upscale building. And the people who live here are not my kind of people. They are valley girls. They are a bunch of chads, very bro-y. The kind of guy who walks around with his shirt like 6 buttons open. And you're like, okay, like I guess you're not attracted enough to do that, but go ahead. They think they're cool. All the girls say like literally every sentence has like at least once, if not more. Like, totally, guys. Like, I talk like this. I mean, I'm not kidding. Almost every woman in my building is like that. And it's everyone's young, and it's very like, okay. And I don't know. Why was I saying that? I have no idea. Oh, because now I've been noticing plastic surgery. Like everybody in my building, guys and girls, has plastic surgery, and it's crazy. I'm like, does anyone not fuck with their face anymore? Botox, lip filler. By the way, that stuff, I don't know if you know that. If you use Botox, if you use lip filler, it goes bad over time. It degrades in quality. So if you get it at 27, by the time you're 40, like it's going to have moved all over your face and look fucking terrible. Do not get plastic surgery. How about go to the gym, eat really good, do the things you can control without getting plastic surgery to look good. But Ben Affleck clearly has a ton of Botox. Like his face doesn't move the same normal way anymore. It's like, he can't, I don't know. It looks very awkward. And speaking of awkward, Ben Affleck in general had a really weird performance. And I don't know if you noticed this. He comes on stage, super awkward speech. He's like scolding people for being mean to Tom Brady on the internet. There's no comedy or jokes told. He tried to tell one joke where he said, why is the coach so fucking mean? And then he looks at Bill Belichick, but like the timing of it was terrible, so it didn't land. And you're like, oh, all right, like that. That was one attempt at a joke there, and it didn't work at all. He was clearly super nervous, probably on some kind of, I don't want to say on a substance, but maybe he should have been drunk. I know he's he's, what's the word for it? He's famously like an alcoholic who got clean. I don't know that that's the thing that he should have been drinking for, but man, maybe he needed a drink. Maybe he was just so uptight and stressed and nervous he couldn't relax, but Ben Affleck gave an incredibly awkward speech. And then he also didn't go like shake Tom Brady's hand or hug anyone. He literally does his little thing. He turns around and walks backstage. He didn't even, it's like he wanted to get out of there as quickly as humanly possible. So Ben Affleck was the dud of the night. He was by far the worst. Although I think when you know it's going to be terrible, you can watch with a different kind of frame of mind and go, let's watch this train wreck. All right. Gronk was there. Gronk did a great job. It was very funny to me. Rob Gronkowski went way off the script. Like you could tell Kevin Hart's like interrupting him going, Rob, we're live on Netflix. Don't do anything crazy. Please. And Rob has just left the teleprompter a long time ago, doing his own thing. They couldn't get him off stage. And it wasn't bad though. Like he kind of was winging it. And for most of it, Gronkowski was killing it. Rob Gronkowski, honestly, I thought did a great job going off script. A couple of the jokes he clearly wrote were like really like, okay, like you're not a comedian. We're laughing, I guess, but I don't think that's funny. That's kind of weird. A lot of dick jokes between Rob Gronkowski and Julian Edelman, and I thought that Kevin Hart effectively pointing that out was really funny. Kevin Hart did a great job. He won me over, like I said, by the end of the night. Peyton Manning came out by the end of the very last presenter before Tom Brady was Peyton Manning. He walks off stage from behind the curtain, and you're like, oh my gosh, Peyton Manning. Like, I had no idea he was there. I did not expect him to come on stage at all. He participated. He was hilarious. He was funny. And then one of the things you got to acknowledge if you watch this event was everybody had something to say about Tom Brady's ex-wife and her jiu-jitsu instructor, right? The rumor is, the theory, I don't know if it's confirmed or not, it might as well be by this point, Giselle cheated on Tom Brady with her jiu-jitsu instructor. And when people made jokes about Giselle like that, about him getting cheated on, he did this funny thing. He would raise his glass and take a drink, as if to acknowledge anytime something that was true was said. He's like, yeah, I'm not gonna smile and go, yeah, that happened, but I'm gonna drink. I'll drink to that. Like, I don't know, man. It was like his little way of acknowledging the horrible reality of what happened with his ex-wife. Randy Moss was there. Who was it? Kevin Hart. I want to say Kevin Hart made this joke. Kevin Hart said about Randy Moss, and I hope I don't think I can I get canceled for retelling a joke? I hope not. He said, Randy Moss is proof that even black people can be white trash. That shit was funny as hell, dude. I thought that was a good one, man. A lot of like really funny jokes were told. I haven't ruined even, I don't think any of them, hopefully, but I've said, I think I've shared a couple openly. They were funny to me. Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer went on stage. It was like this awkward intermission in the middle of things. They did this little presentation with a whiteboard, and they're making a lot of weird racist jokes and comparing Tom Brady to Hitler. That didn't land for me. Like, I like Tom Segura. I think his stand-up specials are really, really funny. Bert Kreischer is a alcoholic disaster. I mean, maybe he's not an alcoholic anymore. I think he's not drinking, which is probably making him actually worse. I don't find Bert Kreischer funny. I think he's actually incredibly obnoxious and awkward. The things I've seen from him, I'm like, like I don't fuck with you, dude. I don't like that, what you bring to the table at all. So he really, I thought, didn't perform well with Tom Segura. In fact, I would even say after Ben Affleck, the next worst performance was actually Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer. Just, it didn't land. Like, even Kim Kardashian went on stage. I don't remember what she said, but it was, I laughed a couple times. Like, Kim Kardashian read her teleprompter very well, very clearly, and did her thing. The big thing with this event, having people that are not comedians participate in comedy, some of these people just don't have timing. Like, they're reading a teleprompter, and it really feels like they're reading, and that's unfortunate. I think the best comedy isn't read off a teleprompter, but instead, Tony Hinchcliffe is a great example. If you go back and watch him, he's not reading a teleprompter. He's just got stuff from memory. He's walking around, talking, doing his thing. I'm sure Netflix had his words. They probably vet everything you say, so they have a teleprompter going, but he wasn't using it. He was doing his own thing, and I think that's exactly how you do effective comedy, which is you don't need to have any kind of presentation you're reading. It should be just you and a mic and walking and talking, doing your thing. And also acknowledging, there's a couple moments you can tell where people, they went off the script, because this is a very scripted event, by the way. Yeah, I mean, just the jokes, everything. You can see people literally, like, with their eyes, they're reading and following along. A couple times people went off script and referred to something that was said earlier or made fun of something that happened in the crowd. And those are the little moments that you're like, that's good comedy, when you're not too afraid to go off script. But one of the guys who did, I don't know, maybe, I don't know if the worst job, but not the best, Julian Edelman, man, did not do a good job, in my opinion. He was not terrible, but it was very uncomfortable, not a great public speaker. Timing isn't there. You could tell he was just very nervous. This is not his thing, doing stand-up comedy. And I just wasn't... I got through it, but he was very bro-y. Like, I would say the best way to put it, Julian Edelman said bro a bunch. A lot of it didn't land. It wasn't my favorite. And I thought it was very interesting. Oh, dude, Rob Gronkowski made a great joke. He said, I've got 5 brothers. Tom doesn't even know 5 brothers. That's what I really thought that was a great joke told by Rob Gronkowski. I felt kind of bad for Gronk. He got made fun of all night, called dumb. He's not the smartest guy ever, but I think he plays into it. I think Rob Gronkowski plays up his stupidity a lot. I don't think he's actually anywhere near as dumb as people pretend he is. I think Rob Gronkowski actually, given the way he spent his money, given his approach to life, I think Rob Gronkowski is a very savvy businessman, to be honest. I think he gets a very unfortunate bad rap. I think if you actually sat down with Rob Gronkowski and talked to him, yeah, I'm sure he's a bro. I'm sure he likes to party and do all this stuff, but when you look at how he spent his money, how he's lived well, how he's invested stuff, there's no way Rob Gronkowski's a dumbass. That's just not possible. And I thought it was kind of unfortunate that a lot of jokes are about Kevin Hart being short and a lot of jokes are about Rob Gronkowski being dumb. And I just think that's a character he plays. I'm sure to some degree he's not the most with it guy, but I would actually say that, like, if I compare Bert Kreischer and Rob Gronkowski is a much more cogent, intelligent man than Bert Kreischer. Like, for real. I'm just like, I don't know. I thought the joke should have been maybe more aimed at Bert Kreischer, if anything, about being dumb. But, kind of in summary, Kim Kardashian was there. Tom Brady made a great joke about she can't believe that. She doesn't really have any place there in this kind of roast. She's not a comedian or an athlete that has anything to do with Tom Brady. So her participating was fascinating to me. Bill Belichick appearing was, they opened the show with this funny moment where he goes, all right, you're up. And you realize he's talking to Drew Bledsoe instead. And so we knew Bill Belichick was in the building. I did not think he was going to participate in the roast, though. And I really respect him for showing up and adding to the whole experience. Bill Belichick did a great job. And Tom Brady, man, was hilarious. I thought a joke he made that was funny. He said, Colts are just Broncos that don't fuck. And I thought that was funny, taking aim at Colts fans. Remember, the Deflategate stuff started during the right after a playoff game against Andrew Luck's version of the Colts with Andrew Luck. Tom Brady does, by the way, acknowledge he deflated footballs, which is I don't know what to make of that yet. I'm still actually digesting how I feel. I've always said about Deflategate, though, a slightly deflated football doesn't give you enough of an advantage to easily win Super Bowls. So I've just always I played quarterback, man, and first of all, I never deflated footballs. I thought they were harder to throw, actually. Maybe easier to catch in snow. That's very possible. As I look back, my last game in high school football ended in a snowstorm because my receivers couldn't catch the ball. It was like catching a brick. So maybe a deflated football helps you catch the ball in snow. That's very possible. But I just have always said, a slightly underinflated football isn't enough of a competitive advantage to do everything Tom Brady did. You still got to throw the ball accurately. You still got to catch the ball. You still got to read the defense properly. You still got to handle pressure. You still got to do all the other things that have to do with quarterback. I just have always felt like a ball with a couple PSI less just isn't enough for me to get up in arms. I'm like, okay, I still find everything Tom Brady did incredibly impressive because the ball is honestly, it's weird to say this, but a minute factor of playing quarterback. You have to be a great leader. You have to read the defense. You have to send the ball to the right spot. It's so much more cerebral than it is the ball. I just have always, and maybe this is my early thoughts. Maybe in 3 months when you ask me, I'll go, oh, that sucks. But I do wonder if that admission from Tom Brady saying openly, he said the NFL spent $20 million to kind of generally figure out I might have had something to do or might have been aware generally people were deflating footballs. He goes, you could have just given me $20 million and asked me, I would have told you, right? So Tom Brady acknowledged, hey, that happened. I participated in that. What I hope doesn't happen is that I hope the NFL doesn't come down too hard on Tom Brady. I hope he's not blacklisted from owning the Raiders or doing broadcasts or whatever. I hope that Tom Brady can still be a part of the NFL without getting in trouble for that. Hopefully it's the past, but I don't know if the statute of limitations has passed on that. I don't know if that's something that Roger Goodell will find funny. I think he will actually be very pissed off when he watches that or hears about that. And then I don't remember who told this joke. I really don't. But someone pointed out that, if you give Tom Brady a chance to go 8-9 and all it's going to cost you are your wife and kids, he's going to go for it. I think that might have been Nikki Glazer. Her set was really funny, talking about losing his wife and kids and stuff. I really enjoyed it, man. I thought that overall, this event was really fun. It was a funny thing. It wasn't perfect. They never are. When you do a roast, again, not all participants are going to kill it. And there were definitely some awkward moments, but for an event that had so many non-comedians participating, people who simply should not be in front of a microphone, basically. Rob Gronkowski, Julian Edelman. I guess they both do TV, but Randy Moss. Like, I guess they all have done TV jobs before, but they're doing TV and talking about football as a guy who talks about football is so different from I've done both stand-up comedy and talked about football professionally. I guess I've talked about football professionally. I've done a lot of open mics. Comedy's hard, dude. It's a different beast entirely. The timing, telling jokes, everything's totally different. And so to have a bunch of guys who, frankly, really shouldn't be doing comedy, telling jokes, and for it to go as well as it did, I thought was really impressive. I thought that this event generally was about as good as it possibly could have been. And, dude, whatever producer, whatever person at Netflix said, hey, we should make this happen, that was a great idea. I don't know who came up with that idea. And then I don't know how they convinced Tom Brady to participate in this, but it was just awesome. I can't believe it happened. It was really fun, really cool, a great win for Netflix. And I look forward to whatever roast is next, man. I don't know who they could land that's going to be as big as Tom Brady. It's going to be a while. The next big name I can think of is whenever LeBron James retires, having him do it. And I think we're still 2 years away minimum from LeBron James being eligible to do a roast like this, but I'd watch more. If they did one a year, I would very, very happily watch and enjoy another roast next year. By the way, the timing of the roast of Tom Brady was incredible. May 5th, where football is dead right now. There's really, the draft is over. We're so far from the season. All we're getting is videos of J.J. McCarthy throwing the football in shorts. Like, I'm so thirsty and hungry for any kind of football content. And so to get this time of year was really cool and really fun. And it made me miss bad football. Like, I want to watch freaking horrible Thursday night football right now. I know that the UFL is happening. I can't get myself to care. Like, I just don't. I want to try with UFL. I just don't. If they last till next year, maybe. If the UFL is still a thing next spring, I will participate and engage. But I got so badly burned by the XFL in 2020 when I was covering them. I was following them a ton. I know there were unforeseen circumstances in 2020 that screwed everything up, but then we've had so much turmoil in the spring football leagues. Until there's stability with spring football, they got to earn my trust and respect for I'm going to watch. And right now, I miss NFL football specifically. I cannot wait for this fall. And this roast of Tom Brady really reiterated that for me, that, oh yeah, I want NFL football back in my life. Guys, I don't want to hold you for too long, take too much of anyone's time. I love you so much. I really appreciate you watching and listening. If somehow you're at this point of the episode and you haven't watched the roast of Tom Brady, you really should. It's a fun time. It's really, really enjoyable. I wish I'd watch it with like my dad. That would have been really cool. If my dad hasn't watched it, I should actually ask him and see if he wants to watch it together. But I would actually, if you haven't seen it yet and you can, watch with someone you normally watch football with. It's that kind of, they'll get all the jokes. It really does land and work. And I had a really great time. I watch it by myself, and I now wish, now that I say this out loud, I wish I'd gone to my dad's house and like had a nice dinner and watch it with him. It would have been really funny and fun to talk about with him. But guys, I love you. I appreciate you. I hope you have a great day. And bam, we are done.